Good.
She's sick because she didn't want to give the treasurer's.
Our treasurer is under the weather. Thank you, guys. Our treasurer is under the weather, so we will hold some healing thoughts and send them her way. Let us begin. Well, so is someone here to make a treasurer's report?
I can tell them the number.
Tell us some numbers. We'll start with Elaine and treasurer's report, and then go from there.
Just pretend I'm Christine. We just had a board meeting on Thursday night. We are now $6,780 in the black as of the end of the third quarter, which is September. And October, and the end of the year, the fourth quarter we do very well anyways, and we still have the gala coming up, and money has been coming in, so we're very excited to be there.
That's it.
The next thing that we were going to talk about is serving on the board. Right now, we have 8 members of the board, and Reverend Ogun is the 9th member, so that there is a odd number for votes, and also because he's our CEO, so he's the only person who sort of goes back and forth and plays 2 roles as being a staff person and a board member. Obviously, if it's about his salary, he has to leave the room. But other than that,
I don't
we
have
let
to.
him
They
vote on
make
just
me. I
about
don't have
everything.
I'll stay. Kidding.
Ordinarily, what happens is 2 or 3 people are coming up to leave the board every year. And because of people's personal circumstances and illness, the only person who's scheduled to have their board service end this year is me.
That's what I said.
I heard a gasp. It's okay. It's okay. So what we and then next year is Tina, and then the following year is like, everybody else. So we have the ability to go from 8 people to 12 people. So this year we're going to add 2 more people to the board. I'm anticipating running again for another term and perhaps serving 1 more year as the president if the board votes me in as the president. I'm not sure how that will go, but if they were
I'm pretty sure you know how that's going to go.
if they were to do that, I would do that 1 more year. But just so that we have some numbers of people coming in so that we don't have a mass exodus and have to bring in all new people and then just have 2 people on the board who know who are familiar with what goes on at Unity on the River. I want to tell you a little bit about board service, and Ogun talks all the time about how much fun it is, and it is fun, isn't it? Don't we have fun?
Yes,
we
it
have
is.
fun.
We have fun.
We have fun. We actually, Reverend Ogun said that we should plan 2 fun events for the board to do together this year, and we still haven't held them yet, but I'm sure that they're coming
There's
right
still
up.
time. There's still time.
There's still time. The year isn't over yet.
Those who play together stay together.
So, in order to serve on the board, you need to be a member of Unity on the River. In order to be a member of Unity on the River, you need to take Unity Basics in any one of our prosperity classes. Another requirement that you must complete within the first year of your service is completing compassionate communication or the art and practice of nothing and no one against you. And those are basically classes that help us if we are in conflict, and we don't always agree about everything. Do we, Ogun?
You have our moments.
If we don't, we treat each other very lovingly,
Yep.
and we work it out. And part of that is because we take that class. So serving on the board at Unity on the River is not like any other board I've ever served on. And I have served on a lot of boards in the past, a lot of human service agency, nonprofit businesses. And I would like to say that when I served on those boards that my ego was in check most of the time. That may not have been the case because obviously I did it much younger in my life and my ego was much stronger then. So the other thing that we ask that you do when you come onto the board, and that's probably one of the reasons why we have the prosperity class, is that board members all tithe. And since Reverend Ogan has been here, we tithe to Unity mostly, but some of us have other places that we tithe of our resources, our financial resources as well. So those are the requirements. We do a vote for the new board members at the annual meeting. Reverend Ogan and I determined, because we're on a roll here with Super Bowl Sunday, it's supposed to be in February that we have our annual meeting, so it's going to be February 5th. If we keep it early in the month and then we have a snowstorm and something happens, we still have time to regroup and do an annual meeting, and then you get installed on the board. So it is the plan of the board, and it's in our bylaws, that officers are supposed to be people who have already served on the board for a year, and then at our first meeting, we determine who's going to be the officers for the oncoming year. Is there anybody who has any questions about board service? And is there anybody that's so excited about the possibility of joining our little group that you can't contain it any longer and you just want to raise your hand and run into the office and get an application?
We got
Thank
one.
you, God. I think that's
That's
a
it.
question. Is that a question, or is that you'd like to apply? Thank you. That'd be great. I will get you an application.
A couple things. She mentioned the classes. We actually will be having a compassionate communication class, which is basically nonviolent communication, and it will be December 3rd and 4th. This is a Saturday morning and then Sunday afternoon after church. December 3rd and 4th, facilitated by Gina right here. We have Gina. There you go. So we have that coming up if you want to do that, if you've not done that before. And it's not just open to folks who want to be on the board. It's open to everyone as well. Something Elaine mentioned that I want to clarify when she says that we require our board members to tithe. No one's checking up on you to see if you actually do it. It's like the honor system. But we do know that those of you who have taken the prosperity classes here do know the power of tithing, do know the power of giving to where you are spiritually fed. And we simply ask that to serve on the board, you do renew and make that commitment to do that, not for us, but for you. Because when you tithe, it does transform you and take you to a higher level of spiritual consciousness and faith. Ask anyone who's ever done it. It's what it does. So please do that. There was one other thing. I'll come back to that later. So any other questions about serving on the board that anyone might have? Yes?
Have you streamlined the application process at all?
So the application process is you complete the form. There's a committee, what do we call them?
Nominating.
The nominating committee looks at the form, makes sure everything's in order, and then interviews you. And then after you are interviewed, then I think then it's the annual meeting where you come and the members of the community elect you.
You have to give a little speech.
You have to just share why you want to run on the board. Just a short little.
It's a little thing.
It's a little
just a
thing.
moment.
If you have
really.
fair public speaking, I'll work with you. No worries. Did I miss any steps in that? I don't think so. So that's the process. So no, that hasn't
You don't
changed.
like the size of the application,
The
am I?
application, it took me 5 hours to fill it out. And I don't know, maybe I was just overly,
So let me ask this question. How many of you have done this application process to serve on the board before? Did your times for the form vary? Like how long did it take you to fill it out? About an hour and a half? About an hour and a half? Couple hours. So the time varies. It is a thorough form because we want you to be clear that you are clear about what is being asked of you. Okay?
It's designed to make you reflect on the reasons why you want to join the board and what you're thinking about and what you're thinking about board service.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of heavy duty.
You were a very thoughtful man, Will. and-
Exactly. So no, it's not as simple as check the box. I want to have fun with Reverend Ogun. I want to serve my church. It's not a checkbox. It is an introspective experience for you. And we have people who have been, yes, eager to serve, and as they completed the form, got a little bit clearer. Maybe this is not mine to do right now, and that's good. That's what the form is designed to do. So Yeah, so,
The
yeah,
other thing that I'd like to say about serving on the board is the board meets the third Thursday of the month. We have one meeting a month. We don't meet every week. The meeting usually is 2.5 hours long. That's when we make most decisions. Sometimes if something comes up, we might do it by email. We have a lot of contact with each other. The board that we have right now is very invested in Unity on the River, and they serve on a lot of different capacities, doing a lot of different things. But that doesn't mean that your board service would mean that you had to be a chaplain and a welcome team and, you know, and do all of those things at the same time. You could certainly just be a board member and not serve in a million capacities simultaneously. Some people, like Malik, just can't get enough. So we humor him. And Sharon is serving as the meditation team liaison. She's the welcome team. She's chaplain. She's on the board. She brings great snacks to the meetings. We got no complaints there. Are there any other questions about being on the board? Anybody else who's feeling so moved? Yes.
we get, is the question, or are you saying yes? Okay.
Yep.
Or both? Well, you have to be a member first. So members, Unity Basics, Prosperity, but you don't have to do them, as long as you get all three done.
Unity Basics is 2 meetings.
Yeah, and that's coming up in, thank you,
Thank you, Cindy, for
November
being our
6th
member.
and 13th, is it? Yeah, so we got 2 Sundays after church for Unity Basics. We got the weekend for Compassionate Communication. And we offer these multiple times a year. Unity Basics is a couple times a year. We're going to try and get art and practice scheduled for next year. Compassionate Communication, again, will be scheduled for next year. We usually do a prosperity class every quarter, at least one. And I think we just put one on the calendar for, was it March or April? Somewhere there, we got a prosperity class coming up. So the classes are usually readily available for you to take them.
Unity Basics is a love offering class. Prosperity class is whatever the length is, depending on the class that you take. It is usually an experience. The payment that you make during that it's an experiment with tithing. And so during the time that you're in that class, if it was a 6 weeks class, you would be asked to tithe during that 6 weeks as an experiment, and then you can do whatever you want afterwards. If you join the board, then you're gonna
We will
They're gonna
ask
keep
you,
it up.
we will ask you to continue tithing as a spiritual practice.
But there are a bunch of different classes, and so I don't think I can name them all the prosperity classes that we do.
Yeah. There's Keys to the Kingdom. There's actually one that is just called Prosperity. I think there's a Thriving class. There's a couple of them. We offer different ones throughout the course of the year.
And the art and practice and compassionate communication are considered classes to help you with the process of decision making while you're on the board. And they are not like SEE classes where you make a payment for them.
Right. We are asking for the compassionate communication. We are asking for a $20 love offering for that class. But again, if that's something that is beyond your means, please let me know. Come talk to me. We'll work something out. Okay. Don't ever let payment be a hindrance to you taking a class here. Come talk to me. Any other questions about serving on the board? And we have multiple term lengths. Am I correct in that, or did I make that up?
No, we don't. We have one. It's a 3-year term.
I made that up apparently.
There was a time.
I'll be on the board forever, so I.
Oh, and another. Well, you already know that. Never mind.
Okay.
And as far as, can I switch to the gala now? Because I have
Yes,
to
you
go
can
out
switch
to my
to the
table.
gala. Oh, before you switch to the gala, I want to go back to the financial report that you made at the beginning.
It was brief, wasn't it?
It was brief. It was great. It was wonderful. Good news. One of the things that I don't think she highlighted was it's my understanding that it's been a while since this community has found itself at the end of summer financially ahead. of things. Usually, most churches traditionally start off the year great, do that summer dip, things pick up at the end, and we kind of break even, and the gala has been part of the experience to help pull us up and even us out at the end. So far this year, it's been more of a this thing, and we've found ourselves at the end of summer financially ahead. I think that's a testament to the shift in giving consciousness that you all have embraced. So I want to thank you for that and say good job, keep it up.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
not- do
The
not-
other thing,
What's that?
the other important thing, and I put this in my letter, I put a letter in the Conscious Connection this week, is it is considered, it's one of our intentions to build up our reserve account, and so that we have money in case something should happen that we don't anticipate in the prosperity planning process. Boy, it's hard when we have so much alliteration to say this stuff. So we should be at $30,000 in our reserve account by the end of the year, but we are not in a position anymore. When I first came to this church in 2012, we had cut salaries. In August, people were making decisions about what bills to pay. If something broke, we were shoulder tapping people to pay for things. This is not the case. We're flying high with what we have right now, and we're doing great. But the idea of the fundraising in the gala, which I'm just going to slide right into it,
Segue.
is the ho-ho-ho for the holidays, which I don't know that we made clear with the announcement, was that the Meditation Garden is sponsoring these events. So we had to buy some tickets because we had to make some plans to make sure that Reverend Ogun would be available and we could fit all these things in before the holidays. And so the Meditation Garden is sponsoring it with money that they have in their account, and so we're hoping to double, maybe triple their money
Quadruple.
for their faith in putting those things together
gotta think big.
and making it fun. Another thing that, I don't know if you talked about this either.
I don't ever remember what I talk about.
I know, he has no memory. Is that I am doing the program, we do a program for the gala, and people put ads in it for their businesses, or sometimes they just put a message or a remembrance or something in the program. If you'd like to do that, please do that this weekend, because I need to get all of that copy to Mark so that he can create the program and we can get it printed on time. And don't forget to buy your tickets. And then I'm going to go run out there. I'm going to miss your vision, but I think I got it.
You got my vision. Yeah, did you?
Yes.
For people that want to donate their services as well.
Yes, anybody who would, another thing that people do is donate their services or things that they make. We have some artwork that people have donated, and we do a wall, or probably, sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 60 things that you can win with the raffle tickets. And so sometimes it's Reiki, sometimes it's a reading, sometimes it's a massage, whatever it is that are, photography,
House cleaning.
house
repair.
cleaning. Last year, Seth, I don't know where Seth is, offered to do house cleaning in any costume that you selected. I don't know how that worked out, I never heard, but I kind of liked his cowboy suit. So you can have fun with it, because we've you can put whatever you want out. Yes.
What is the cost to advertise your business in your directory?
There are 3 different levels. One is a business card size. It's a quarter page. That's $150. A half a page is $300, and a full page is $500. All the ads are in color, and it's beautiful. And we also put your ads, depending on which level, on the website so that you get more publicity after the fact. Mhm.
Yes.
Is that on the Unity Church website or?
About the gala? Yes.
Yes.
Everything's there. If you go to our homepage, one of the drop-down banners at the top is about the gala. Yes.
Yes.
Will you have a benefactors page for people who can donate $25 or $50 or $100?
I would make a page for you.
Well, I can't afford an ad, but I'd like
That's okay. Sure, we can do that.
If we could do that,
Sure.
No gift will be turned away.
No gift is turned away.
No gift will be turned away.
Anything else?
Anything else about the gala, board service, finances, anything? Any questions in general before I share where, yes?
Yeah, I just noticed that Amy Jocelyn has not been around lately.
Yes.
And wasn't involved in AIF. Is she still our education director?
Would you like to address that? Should we?
Yes, you should.
Yes, we
Because
should.
it was asked.
All right, I will address that. Maybe 3 weeks, we're gonna 3 weeks ago, I did ask Amy to step down as adult education director. One of the things I'm very purposeful and mindful about is creating a staff and team that really supports my vision for us here at Unity on the River. And we've had instances where I have had to ask people, volunteer team leaders, for example, to step away from their area of service because it was not flowing well, especially in relation to other people and how their service was impacting other people. It's never an easy thing to do, and in doing so, we always make clear to them that they are loved for who they are, not what they do. They're always going to be members of this spiritual community, and let's find out where else we can have you serve that may be more suited to your gifts and talents. So,
Gifts, talents, time, and personal circumstances.
yes.
And we can't go into detail about anybody's personal circumstances and how that impacts sometimes for them. So, it is private and personal, and we love Amy, and we're talking to her about other ways of serving now. So,
And please, I do hope that those of you who know her and feel free to reach out to her and connect with her and tell her, yes, we love you, we miss you. Speak to her. It's her story to tell. I see a hand in the back, I think, in the sun. Yeah.
So I'm asking completely respectfully, Hogan, but would you describe the vision that you are referring to? Would you just share with us what that is?
Sure.
About, in ways that we can cooperate or?
Yeah. I am going to get to that. No, that's okay.
okay.
But any other general questions? Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Go sell some tickets.
I will.
Go
There you
ahead. I love her dearly. We have a nice banter relationship with each other, in case you haven't noticed yet. Thrilled that she's has considered her continual service as board president. She's truly been a force of nature in a really good way. Yes, I said it, force of nature. We love you, Elaine. So since I've been here, when I got hired, like within 2 weeks of my hiring, people were asking me, "What is your vision for Unity on the River?" And my response was, I haven't even learned all the names of the rooms in the building yet. Let's take this a little bit slowly. And I may have shared this earlier. I have a mentor, another Unity minister who's been doing this for a few decades now. And I had a conversation with him. I said, at the end of my first year, I want to be able to have this vision for where I think Unity on the River is needing to go. And he just laughed at me. And it's not always comfortable when your mentor laughs at you, but he laughed at me. And he said, "You've been there a year. Like, I bet you don't know the names of half your congregants." I said, "Well, that's because I have really poor memory." He said, "That's not the point." He says, "The point is your job is to at least spend the first 2 years just being there, loving people. Don't worry about that. That will make itself known, but that will only make itself known when you get to know the place you're at. And that takes time. So no, at the end of the first year, you're not going to have a clue as to what this community is being asked to do. And the last thing you want to do is go make something up. So, but this time last year, when people were like, okay, you've been here a year, what's your vision for this community? And I said, nope, don't have one yet. Everybody, let's just breathe and be patient. You've been around for 20-some years, probably be around for another 20-something more and beyond, so let's not rush it. But what's been happening over the last year and a half especially has been some things that have organically been created here that made me realize that I think this is where we as a community are being asked to go, asked to do, asked to be, and it's not something that I am creating out of my own ministerial ego self. It's what's been coming up. A good example of this is our home and hospital prayer chaplaincy program, where some of our prayer chaplains volunteer for extra training to go visit some of our community members who are, for whatever reason, whether they're in rehab, recovery, unable to come join us here on Sunday mornings, but still want to feel connected to our community. Some other ideas that came up spontaneously, not from my asking, but all have to do with how do we connect with people who are hurting? How do we connect with people who are in pain? How do we connect with people who are suffering and don't feel comfortable to come join in the wonderful celebration energy we have because it doesn't feel real to them in that moment? And there's no way we're going to change the celebration energy that we have. That's just as much who we are. In fact, some people, if they're not feeling good during the week, they come here for that, and it lifts them up and helps carry them through the next week. Okay, so that's not going to change. In fact, if anything, we're going to put the pedal to the metal for that as well and do some more celebration energy. But there's still many of us who, in the midst of this, for whatever reason, whether it's we've suffered loss, whether it's personal illness or illness of a friend, or whatever reason, the phrase someone uses, there are many of us who are like walking wounded. Whether it's because others in our community don't feel safe to express their sexual orientation or identification, because maybe people in our community have been struggling with drug abuse and drug addiction, or alcohol abuse and addiction. There are a lot of walking wounded here. And things that have been organically coming up over the last couple of years, whether we actually got to the point where we made them happen, like the home and hospital chaplain program, or they're still in the works being developed, speaks to those things. So what I'm realizing in this community is not just being called to be a center of celebration and inspiration and oneness, and those things that you have across the front of your building, but we also called to be a center of healing, a center of spiritual healing. Because if there's anything I've learned in Unity, and anything that you get from me, is that the solution to any issue in your life starts at the spiritual level. It starts at the spiritual level, but it don't end there. Our fifth unity principle is that it's enough to know these, not enough to know these principles. We got to put them into action. So while we may engage in the spiritual practices that facilitate our spiritual healing, we still have to take it to the next level. So I think that's what this community is asking of us. Not me, the community. I believe because a community is made up of people like who you are and so much more, there's a certain consciousness, community consciousness. If you read Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, if you read his books or his letters that were written, turn of the century, early 1900s, he speaks about race consciousness. He's not referring to ethnic race, not ethnicity. He's referring to human race. That while we do have our individual consciousness, when we come together, there is a sense of a collective consciousness. And I believe from what I've observed, from the people who've walked into my office and done pastoral counseling sessions with me, that the collective consciousness of this community is asking us to pay attention to the fact that there are many of us who come into this building and who do not come into this building who are crying out for healing. And when I say healing, I don't mean getting rid of the disease, I don't mean curing illnesses, I mean coming to a place of inner spiritual peace. so that then they can really begin to address all the other issues in their life, because it starts at the spiritual level. So next year, what you're going to see is a real visible shift in how we show up as a community and who we are towards that. And I want to invite you all as well, that if you have any ideas or leanings or know of organizations that maybe we could partner with to help facilitate healing. I know in this New England area, for example, rampant opioid epidemic. What are we doing as a spiritual community to say, you know what, we want to be a part of the healing of that and a safe place for individuals who have been affected, not just those using, but other family members who've been affected by that. So that's all I got. That's all I've heard. That's what I've seen. That's what I've felt. The other thing we've started, another example, is the LGBTQ&U group that meets every second and fourth Mondays of the month, creating a safe space for those who have questions, for those who want to feel love as they explore, come to terms with, come out, all those things. When you look at the teenagers in the world, in our community, who are homeless, the vast majority of them, not the vast majority, but a high proportion of homeless teenagers are homeless because their parents kicked them out when they came out and said, I am gay, or I am lesbian, or I'm bisexual, or I'm transgender. And families don't know what to do with that. What are we doing? What we're doing is we're in the process of continually creating and holding a safe space for them that they can come here and feel loved and not feel judged, and feel accepted for who they are, not for what they do, but for who they are, a sense of belonging. So that's what I want to continue doing, creating this place as a healing center of belonging. I don't quite know how it's going to look, but you know, I don't have to know. These things have been organically coming up. And all I'm saying is, I like it. Let's create a plan to make it happen. Let's train people. Let's equip people. So I'm open to it. Yes, Nancy.
And this is probably in your mind already, but it might be a theme for next year, healing up.
Way ahead of you.
Well, I thought so, but I
Way ahead of you.
say that loud.
Way ahead of you. I can't reveal everything today. Gotta leave a little. Any questions about this at all? You're welcome. So, if there are no questions about that, again, this is going to take time to unfold. Things will be gradually developed. And here's the thing. Here's what I really want to caution you, okay? Two things. One, there will be starts and stops. There will be hits and misses as we unfold into this. But here's the thing I really, really need you to be aware of. When we say yes, we want to be a place for healing and invite the wounded, guess who's going to show up? The wounded. And let me be clear, some days it ain't going to look pretty. Some days they will push our buttons. This will be an invitation for us to step up into a higher level of compassion, of service, of openness than we have ever done before as a community. Coming together and celebrating that energy when it all feels good and we feel great, that's wonderful, but that's easy. So if we want to step it up to the next level of spiritual presence, this is what this is going to call us to be. This is who this is going to call us to do. So strap in, get ready for the ride. Okay? One last question.
It's a comment.
It's a comment. Okay, I'll take those two.
I've just been reading more and more about the spirituality of the 21st century. It's hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what is needed is hospitality. And that's what you're speaking about.
Okay.
Openness to others.
Openness to others, hospitality. So I believe that's who we are called to be. As always, if you ever have any further questions or want to talk stuff through with me, even if it's just to vent, if it's to complain, or even if it's just to process your thoughts out loud, even if it's to tell me what a wonderful job I'm doing, I'll take that too. Please make an appointment in my office. Call the office, make an appointment. I am here for you to do that, okay? Please don't ever feel that what you have on your heart is not important enough to bother Reverend Ogun. Please don't ever feel that. This is why I'm here. This is actually literally part of my job description. And I happen to love doing it. Okay? So please don't feel anything is too small or unimportant. I'm here.
Daily News yesterday was terrific.
Oh, yes. If you haven't seen the Newburyport, what is it? Newburyport News, Daily News. I also posted it on the church's website. I am one of a group of local clergy who write an article for their religious section. So every few months, I get to write an article for that. It's up, it's on there. So it's online. You can check the paper. What's that?
It's good.
Why, thank you. Apparently it's good. All right. If there's nothing else, thank you all so much for giving your time and energy and attention to our community. Go get yourself some snacks. Go buy some jewelry from the kids. Go buy your gala tickets. Go buy your gala tickets. Go buy your gala tickets.